Chapter 10 How to Steal a Dog. Shh! I put my finger to my lips and motioned for Toby to stay behind me. We tiptoed along the hedge in front of the big brick house. When we got to the gate, I scanned the street and whispered to Toby, "You should be the lookout. If anybody comes outside or comes along or anything, you whistle like I showed you this morning, okay?" Toby nodded. I peered over the gate. The front door of the house was closed. I glanced toward the driveway. No garage. The yard was empty and quiet. "Here, Willie," I called out real soft. Nothing. Maybe he was inside. I wonder if I should go up onto the porch. Probably not. If someone was home, they were liable to see me. "Maybe you should whistle," Toby whispered. "Okay." I whistled one time and waited. Sure enough, Willie stuck his head out from the little doggy door when he saw me, and he dashed out the door and up to the gate. "Hey, Willie," I whispered, sticking my hand through the gate to pet him. He stood on his hind legs and put his front paws on the gate. His tail wagged so hard his whole body wiggled. He licked my hand like it was a T-bone steak. "You want to come with us?" I said. He cocked his head and peered at me. And then, I swear, he nodded his head as if he could talk. I was sure he would have said, "Heck yeah, I want to come with you." So, quick as I could, I lifted the gate on the latch and opened it just enough to reach my arm in. My heart was pounding so hard. All I could hear was the thump, thump, thump in my ears. I knew I had to keep myself moving, or else I was liable to start thinking. And if I started thinking, I was liable to think I shouldn't be doing this. So I turned my mind off and grabbed Willie's collar and pulled him through the gate and out onto the sidewalk. He kept wagging his tail, looking at me with shiny black eyes. I took the string out of my pocket and tied it to his flea collar. "Okay, let's go," I said to Toby, and took off running. I ran down Whitmore, around the corner, and into the woods. Willie ran along beside me. Every now and then he leaped up on me and nipped at my heels, like it was the most fun game he had ever played. Once in a while he let out a little yip. When we were far enough from the woods that I was sure no one could see us from the road, I stopped to catch my breath. I put my hand on my pounding heart and leaned against a tree. Toby ran up and stopped beside me. "We did it," he hollered. "Shh!" I clamped my head over my mouth. "Someone might hear us. You gotta be really quiet." Willie sat in front of us with his tongue hanging out, panting. His tail wagged on the ground. Swish, swish. I knelt down and ran my hand along his back. He closed his eyes and leaned against me. "It's okay, fella," I said. "Don't be scared. Me and Toby are nice." He scratched behind his ears with his hind leg, making the tag of his collar jingle. "What do we do now?" Toby said. "We take him over to that house and tie him up on his porch." "What if he doesn't like it there?" "He's just going to have to be there for a little while," I said. "As soon as his owner puts up the reward sign, we'll take him back at home." "Oh," Toby knelt and rubbed the top of Willie's head. "What if his owner don't put up a reward sign?" I flapped my hand down at Toby. "Trust me, that lady is going to want him back more than anything. She's probably making a reward sign right now." I made my voice sound calm and sure, but a funny little feeling was tapping inside me. A feeling like maybe I had done a real bad thing. I took a deep breath, trying to swallow that feeling down and keep it from growing. I unbuckled Willie's green collar and tossed it into the bushes. Tap, tap. There was that feeling again, tapping at my insides, like it was trying to tell me something. What did you do for that?" Toby said. I rolled my eyes. "Think about it, Toby." Toby eyebrows squeezed together, and he bit his lip. "Because he doesn't need it anymore," he said. I sighed. "No, Dumbo, because we can't take him back to his owner with his collar on, or she'll wonder how we did call her. Her phone number's right on that tag." "Oh," Toby nodded, but he still looked confused. I swear sometimes he's dumber than dirt. "Come on," I motioned for Toby to follow me. We made our way through the woods behind the house. On Whitmore Road, I could hear the cars on the highway up ahead, so I was pretty sure we were going in the right direction. Willie trotted along beside me, happy as anything. Every now and then he stopped to sniff the ground or root through the rotting leaves. Once he stopped to dig, sending dirt and leaves and twigs flying out behind him and making me and Toby laugh. He was sure a funny dog. When we got to the highway, I stooped down beside the bushes along the edge. I handed the string leash to Toby. "Here," I said. "Hold this while I see if any cars are coming." I checked in both directions. No cars. I went back to where Toby sat with his arm around Willie. "Okay, now listen," I said. "We gotta run across the highway, then through the vacant lot over there. I'm pretty sure we can cut through those woods to get to the old house." He nodded. I took the string from him and dashed across the highway, with Willie leaping along beside me. We kept running until we made it to the edge of the gravel road leading to the old house. The whole time, Willie pranced and yipped and jumped up on me. Once in a while, he grabbed the string in his mouth and gave it a tug. When we got to the house, Willie perked his ears up and watched me. "We're here, fella," I said, scratching the top of his head. He looked at the run-down, boarded-up house, and then back at me. I had a feeling I knew what he was thinking. "It's okay, Willie," I said. "You won't be here long, I promise." He cocked his head in that cute way of his. I don't know how he did it, but that little dog could make you love him just by looking at him. I sat down on the dusty road and put my arm around him. He crawled right into my lap and licked my face. His licks weren't all slobbery like most dogs. "It's spooky here," Toby said in that whiny voice of his. I knew if I didn't do something fast, he was liable to turn into a baby self and start crying or something. "You hold Willie, and I'll make a path back to the porch," I said.